I'm going to use this piece ornament from Dollar Tree, this fall mason jar sign also from Dollar Tree, and a piece of scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby to make a winter sign. The first thing I'm going to do is start taking off the embellishment and the string that came on it, and I'm just using my heat gun to melt the glue and wipe it away. Then I have this piece of contact paper that I'm going to apply over the front original design, cut it away, and then use my sander to smooth up the edges. And then I'm going to reapply that string hanger before I get started decorating. Next, I'm going to cut out the jar shape from the scrapbook paper and use some Mod Podge to apply it to that back clean side that I'm using. And I've gotten a lot of comments about wasting the paper, but don't worry, I put that to the side and I'm sure that I'll use the scraps for some other project. I never throw anything away. Then I'm going to use my little mini sander to go around the edges and make sure any overhang is off, and just kind of distress the edges, and then use it across the top to distress that too. And here I have some distressing ink and a little brush that I use to put it on, and I'm just going to go around the edges and really get in the corners good, and just kind of make it look a little vintage and grungy on the edges. And you can do a little of this or a lot, just depending on how vintage you like your piece to be. And then I'm adding more Mod Podge on top to seal it in, and this will spread out your ink a little bit too. Now I'm going to use some thicker jute string and just start wrapping it around the top as the lid of my jar. And you can see this little tool I'm using here. It's just a little finger protector that I stuck on a dowel rod so that I don't burn my fingers with the hot glue. It gets a little tricky when you get to the top and there's not really any more board to wrap on, so just use your hot glue to kind of just weave it back and forth, and then glue that last strip right across the top edge and cut it. Now I'm going to take some of my antiquing wax and just kind of brush it on the edges of that string to make the lid look kind of dirty. I'm adding some Mod Podge here, and then I'm going to sprinkle on some cinnamon to make it look like rust. You can knock off the excess and kind of use a dry brush to brush out anything extra. And then I'm adding another layer of Mod Podge on top to seal it in. And now you have a little rusty lid. The next piece is this little rectangle that I cut out of cardboard. I rounded the edges, and now I'm pulling off the top layer to expose the corrugation, and I'm going to first paint it with some brown truffle paint. It's chalk paint by Waverly. And then I'm going to use some of this moss green color to dry brush onto the top of that. I don't want a full coverage. I want to be able to see some of the brown underneath, but I want the green to show. And then I'm taking some antique wax and going around the edges and a little across the top. Once that's dry, I'm going to center it on my jar piece where I want, and then glue it down. And now I'm ready to put on my ornament. So the first thing I'm going to do is take everything off of it. I liked the color of it, but also it didn't show up that well. So I'm going to take some of this plaster chalk paint and just dry brush a little over the top to highlight it. But then I'm also going to use some more of that distressing wax to kind of tone it down a little bit, because my piece is not real bright. It is distressed and vintage looking, and so I want my words to match. And then I'm taking some of this E6000 glue to put on a couple places, some hot glue for that immediate stick, and centering my word on that piece. And now it's time to make my bow. I'm going to use some strips of drop cloth, some green plaid, some light brown, and some dark brown strips for this bow. I'm going to start by layering in the drop cloth first. I'm just putting the strip center in the middle and then folding the ends over to make the loops. For me, this is easier, especially on these pieces of fabric where only one side has color on it. The second color I layered in was that dark brown color, and then now I'm adding the green plaid, then the lighter brown, and then some more of that green plaid on top. And I get a lot of questions about my bow maker. It's called a Bowdabra, and I do have a link to my Amazon shop at the top of my page if you want to check that out. And now I'm just cutting the ends of my ribbon so that they are the length that I need them to be, so I can see all the colors the way that I want to see them, and fluffing it out. For this project, I'm going to glue the bow under the lid right above the little decoration in the middle, and then I'm going to go ahead and staple it to make sure that it stays nice and secure. Now I'm going to stick in some pieces from some greenery picks that I have, just some little kind of pine looking branches, and I'm also going to use those couple little pieces that came off of the ornament to stick those in and decorate the bow. And then I have a little mini pine cone that I'm going to use as my center. And did you know that pine cones symbolize peace? I didn't until I started working on this project, so I thought it was neat that it all came together this way. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you love it, please let me know in the comments, and it would help me out so much if you would share it around. Have a blessed day.